Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. It is day 154 of reading the Bible in a year. 154. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. 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 And this is the third reading of today. Third reading. Third reading. Third reading. Third reading. I don't know why I'm doing all those. They're quite fun. Third reading. Anyway, I should get reading because this is the last reading of today and I'm reading Matthew chapter 14. Ooh. Oh no, it starts off bad. John the Baptist beheaded. Right at the start. Yay. At that time, Herod the Tetrarch heard the report about Jesus and said to his servants, "This John the Baptist, he is risen from the dead, and therefore these powers are at work in him." For Herod had laid hold of John and bound him and put him in prison for the sake of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife. His brother Philip's wife, Herodias. Interesting. Because John had said to him, "It is not lawful for you to have her." And although he wanted to put him to death, he feared of the multitude because they counted him as a prophet. But when Herod's birthday was celebrated, the daughter of Herodias danced before them and pleased Herod. Therefore he promised an oath to give her whatever she might ask. So she, having been prompted by her mother, said, "Give me John the Baptist's head on a platter." And the king was sorry, nevertheless, because of the oaths, and because of those who sat with him, he commanded it to be given to her. So he went and had John beheaded in prison, and his head was brought on a platter and given to the girl, and she brought it to her mother. Then his disciples came and took away the body and buried it, and went and told Jesus. Ugh. Feeding the 5,000. When Jesus heard it, he departed from there by boat to a deserted place by himself. But when the multitudes heard it, they followed him on foot from the cities. And when Jesus went out, he saw the great multitude, and he was moved with compassion for them, and healed their sick. When it was evening, his disciples came to him, saying, "This is a deserted place, and the hour is already late. Send the multitudes away so that they may go to their villages and buy themselves food." But Jesus said to them, "They do not need to go away. You give them something to eat." And they said to him, "We have here only 5 loaves and 2 fish. And he said, "Bring them to me." Then he commanded the multitudes to sit down on the grass. And he took the 5 loaves and 2 fish, and looked up to heaven. He blessed and broke them, and gave the loaves to the disciples, and the disciples gave it to the multitudes. And they all ate and were filled, and they took up 12 baskets full of fragments that remained. Now those who had eaten were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. So if they only counted the men, and each man had a wife, because that was the normal thing because of society then, and they had at least 1 child or even 2 to keep the population up, that would mean based on 2 parents and 2 kids, is 20,000. That's a lot. Jesus walks on the sea. Immediately Jesus made his disciples get into the boat and go before him to the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. Now when the evening came, he was alone there. But the boat was now in the middle of the sea, tossed by the waves, for the wind was contrary. Now in the 4th watch of the night, Jesus went to them, walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It's a ghost!" And they cried out for fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them, saying, "Be of good cheer, it is I, do not be afraid." And Peter answered him and said, "Lord, if it is of you, command me to come unto you on the water." So he said, "Come." And when Peter came down out of the boat, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. But when he saw that the wind was boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, saying, "Lord, save me." And immediately Jesus stretched out his hand and caught him and said to him, "O you of little faith, why did you doubt?" And when they got into the boat, the wind ceased. Then those who were in the boat came and worshipped him, saying, "Truly you are the Son of God." Many touch him and are made well. When they had crossed over, they came to the land of Gennesaret. Gennesaret, or Gennesaret. It's a G with an E. And when the men of that place recognized him, they sent out into all that surrounding region and brought to him all who were sick, and begged him that they might only touch the hem of his garment. As many as touched it were made perfectly well. Wow. Right, I will finish there for that reading. Yes. And yeah, after I finished reading the Bible, finished the reading plan, I will still keep reading the Bible. But not as much as I have been doing. But I will be reading The Adventures of the Little Wooden Horse, which is a book that my parents read to me when I was a child. And judging by when this was published, my parents might have had it read to them. It was first published in 1938. Ugh. And the pages are starting to fall out. So as I'm reading it, I will scan it into my computer as well. So I've got a permanent paper is a permanent record. I will have a digital record of it. And might even print it out again. Because it's almost 100 years. It's 87 years old. Yes. The names are a bit suspect in this because the person who builds the wooden horse is Uncle Peter. Peder. Probably an offshoot of Peter. I will read the first page. The Little Wooden Horse. One day, Uncle Peter made a little wooden horse. This was not an extraordinary thing, for Uncle Peter made toys for every day of his life. This was such a brave little horse, so gay and splendid on his 4 green wheels, so proud and dashing with his red saddle and blue stripes. Uncle Peter had never made so fine a little wooden horse before. "I shall ask 5 shillings for this little wooden horse," he cried. What was his surprise when he saw large tears trickling down his newly painted face of the little wooden horse. "Don't do that, "Don't do that," said Uncle Peter. "Your paint will ruin. And what is there to cry about? Do you want more spots on your side? Do you wish for bigger wheels? Do you creak? Are you stiff? Aren't your stripes broad enough? Upon my word, I can see nothing to cry about. I shall certainly sell you for 5 shillings. But the tears still ran down the newly painted cheeks of the little wooden horse. And I will finish there. There's lots of chapters. There are 19 chapters. The Little Wooden Horse, Uncle Peter in Trouble, The Little Wooden Horse Sells Himself, The Little Old Woman and Uncle Peter, The Little Wooden Horse Seeks His Fortune, The Escape from Farmer Max, The Little Wooden Horse Goes to Sea, The Little Wooden Horse Goes Down the Mine, The Little Wooden Horse Sees the King, The Little Wooden Horse Runs a Race, The Blacksmith and His Son, The Little Wooden Horse at the Circus, In the Nursery, The Swim to the Sea, Black Jakey, The Little Wooden Horse Swims the Ocean, Pirate Jackie and Bill Blackpatch, The Little Wooden Horse Goes Home, The Little Wooden Horse Goes to a Wedding. I might have to update some of the language to make it more acceptable for modern audiences. Yes. Which my parents might have done when they read it to me. But it was my absolutely favourite book when I was growing up. And my parents forgot about it. So I started to write my own version, which was going to be like a fantasy adventure type thing. Yeah. Well, now I've got the original version, I can try and make it my own version. Alright, I will finish there for tonight, and I will see you next time I'm reading.